Just like I also always tell my clients, and my clients are the same profile, very ambitious, your work will never, like, it will never end. You'll always have a to-do list longer than there are hours in the day, so that you have a system that you can sustain forever.
Welcome to Success Leaves Clues, the podcast where we interview business owners on how they built their businesses and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is David Wynn, and I'm a business coach and the founder of Purple Circle, where we help business owners achieve their first six-figure, seven-figure, and eight-figure year, all without sacrificing their quality of life. Before becoming a business coach and before founding Purple Circle, I started and scaled several 7 and 8-figure coaching businesses and have been a consultant at several businesses doing over $100 million each, including some that are publicly listed and doing over $1 billion each. In every episode of the podcast, you're going to learn lessons that took our guests years to learn, and you'll be able to learn that in minutes. No matter if you're a new business owner or an established business owner, every episode is going to give you the clues in order to elevate your business.
Welcome to Success Leaves Clues podcast. I'm Pedro, and today I'm joined by Angela Shurina, who helps purpose-driven entrepreneurs and executives 40 plus build back their capacity by combining the zest of their 20s with the experience of their 40s, addressing the foundation most high achievers ignore until it completely breaks. Angela's 18 years of experience living and working across 15 countries, coaching pro athletes and self-made millionaires, has shaped a deeply personalized system of effective habits built around each client's goals, biology, and real-life demands. Angela's work spans individual performance coaching focused on sleep, recovery, energy, stress resilience, and emotional regulation to her organizational workplace well-being 360 program, a 6-month initiative that turns well-being from good intention into measurable strategic ROI. Her TDEM framework uses applied behavioral science to help leaders translate vision into observable behavior that delivers consistent results, proving that sustained fulfillment and peak performance are achievable without the depletion and unsustainable pace that burns most high achievers out. Welcome to the show, Angela.
Thank you, Pedro. So happy and grateful to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. Okay. And you know what, Angela? I'm kind of a comic book nerd myself. You know, I love the first editions, the origin story. So let's backtrack a little, okay? Because every coach has that moment when they look at their life and say, "Yeah, I guess this is what I'm doing now." Right? So when was that for you?
Um, it's funny you mentioned. I think when I first got into coaching, that was 18 years ago. I did it to sort of figure out what it is and who it is I want to be in my life. So I'm originally from Russia, Siberia, and at that point, I decided, okay, I'm gonna get my fitness coaching certification, take it with me. Got my one-way ticket to Thailand, and started my figuring a life journey. And that coaching has been supporting all kinds of different ideas about what my life should be or could be. And then I think actually not so long ago, maybe just 5 years ago, I realized, hey, I think this is what I'm doing for life.
Nice. Okay. Now, I was talking with you pre-podcast, right? And we were talking about your journey as an entrepreneur, and you've been 18 years in the game as a coach, so multiple ventures. Uh, but what made you create, the last business you're currently in, right? So that we establish it's like your Bass Coaching.
Hmm.
That's the name of the business for 2.5 years. Like, what's different with this one, and why did you start at this venture?
I think this one is based on everything that I learned previously from my work. Sort of your-based coaching as a concept evolved because I worked with so many people, and then I realized, hey, this is what I help people to do, people, organizations, groups, teams, companies. I help them to build systems, scaffolding, to practice things that make their best possible, make it come out, so then they can create the most fulfilling life journey, live their best life, and contribute to the causes they care about the most. And it's this idea, like, professional athletes, and I worked with them, they always have coaches to create, to get the best out of them. The best just doesn't come out by itself. And it is true for every single one of us. We are not at our best just by, being born. It takes practices, it takes certain systems around us, it takes intentional investment of energy and time for the best to come out and play in real life. And that's where this company as a concept and my methodology, like how it came together, and that's what I believe going to shape the rest of my coaching journey, is just helping more everyday superheroes to unlock their best, more of their potential, to live their best lives.
Okay. Now that always puzzled me, right? We have this such easy understanding of why coaches are needed in the athlete arena, the sports arena, wherever we want to call it. And when we talking business or we're talking about different aspects of our life, we're like, why would I need a coach? I see a lot of friction for people to understand that. Do you see that as well? And why do you think people have this little bit of resistance to accept a coach in different parts of their life?
Mm, I think there are a few things in place depending on, so I coach different areas of person, right? Whether that's nutrition or their mindset, or their sleep. And very often when we do things often, like let's say you eat every day, right? And you start getting the idea that you're quite good at it because you do it every day. And so you have like skill set, right? But I always say to people, when they sort of resist this idea of nutrition coaching or health coaching, like, do you use your computer? They're like, yeah. I'm like, do you consider yourself a computer programmer or a computer professional? Most of the people would say no. I'm like, why do you think this is any different? Like, you can do something and really not be that great at it for the rest of your life, and then you can get some help and create better systems and create better outcomes, because of specific training. And that's where people start looking into that. Oh, I didn't really think about that this way. But again, so the first thing is that illusion that just because we do certain things often enough, we are quite good at it. And maybe the second thing is, very often, like athletes, especially professional athletes, they are exposed to what better can look like. Like, hey, this guy, I don't know, building, breaking records, right? Or this is what possible, or this athlete did that, right? This is how their journey was. And so they're very often exposed to that idea that growth is a journey, and somebody else can help you to go through this journey in a more effective way. Whereas in other areas, very often like health or even business, although like business coaching is also becoming quite like common thing, we often not we don't see the difference between where we are and how good we are and what we can be with some help. And so we're like, well, it feels like I'm doing my best, and why would I ask for any help? And we don't see that potential to begin with, and therefore we don't really think about asking for help to get us there. Like, I'm, where I am, and I don't really see the need for someone else to help me to get somewhere I don't know where. And so I think like those two key things that I noticed that prevent people from looking into coaching in the first place.
Mm, interesting. Okay, appreciate the insight. Now, let's talk about your business, right? Your bass coaching a little bit, just so I can understand. I mean, 2.5 years, and especially in the early days for coaching, sometimes we see almost like an evolution of the ideal client profile of who you serve, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that happened with you in this business
Yes.
specifically, right? But can you walk us through the evolution, right? Who started helping, and who do you serve now? Because eventually
Mhm.
we attract a certain type of people, or we sharpen the blade, and we want to serve this people or not that just the evolution on the ICP here.
Yes. Um, for me, I started with working with professional athletes and also supported my work in fitness centers or different fitness retreats and programs. But specifically, I worked a lot with professional athletes, and that was my exposure to people who really want to push the boundary of what's possible for them. And I was also exposed to some mindset coaches, and in general got used to this idea, and that felt natural to me, that people want to achieve more and want to be their best. And then once I got out of professional athlete coaching and fitness coaching, I actually had an accident, and that's why sort of that part stopped. I realized that, actually, not everybody wants to do more, be more, and achieve their best. And there is a very specific psychological profile of like a very specific type of people who wants to do that. And I found that same mindset that I was used to while working with athletes in entrepreneurs, founders, executives who want to go as far as they want to go, leaders. So this type of people actually care about not just being okay or being in a good place, but pushing that boundary as far as as they can. And so for me, that was sort of understanding. And then in the meantime, I would attract some people because I also did weight loss coaching, nutrition coaching, fitness coaching. So I would attract people who just wanted, I don't know, lose some weight for summer, or get into good shape, and then just be there. So that was also part of my journey. And the more I work with people, the more I realize that what fulfills me and what clients tend to stick with me the longest, and where I tend to deliver the best transformation that fulfills me and is very like rewarding for the client. What I learned is that that type of people, entrepreneurs, business owners, founders, and leaders in purpose driven organizations, those are the types of people that, again, just I get the most joy out of coaching them. They get the most pleasure of working with me because I'm so multifaceted and can always push their boundary a little bit further. And that's sort of like, uh, after a while, all of the other stuff started to just fall off, to the point that now I'm like, I work only with purpose driven business owners and leaders, and who want this 360 approach, who want to be their best on all levels and are not satisfied with just how things are,
Okay.
right? And also specifically, in coaching, like in most businesses, uh, people don't act without a reason why. And so I also found that people, or my ideal customer profile, is in some sort of pain to begin with, to start this coaching journey. And usually for me, it's health related, because a lot of founders, a lot of leaders, business owners, they push their mind to, like, they push that boundary there. They also work on their self-development business, but like health sort of falls sideways, or like falls apart in the middle of it, because they don't realize that that is actually the vehicle that holds everything together. And so at that point, like, I need to take care of me, but I also don't want to be researching all this health stuff and figure it all out. So I need some support, professional support in that. And that's where we usually meet each other. Okay.
Okay. So just to wrap my head around it. So it's leaders, right? To an extent.
Mhm.
I let's pretend I'm one of those. Okay. I hit a ceiling. I am spinning my wheels. I'm not sure what's happening. I want to be a better version of myself. Okay. But I am like a little bit lost.
Hmm.
Let's say I'm your ideal client profile, simply put. Okay. So how would I be able to find you, Angela? Marketing wise.
Marketing wise, podcast. I've had my podcast for 8 years now. Of referrals, word of mouth. That's where actually most of my clients how they find me. Like, oh, my friend did that, and I found you through my friend. Um, Another one, and I have quite a wide network of people all around the world because of all the work that I did. Um, Another thing that I do is work with different accelerators, different funds that support founders, entrepreneurs, or also organizations like Entrepreneur Organization, which is actually my ideal customer profile is, is their like their entire sort of organization. I do a lot of work like this. I also do a lot of work for different CEO organizations all around the world. So I'd say my marketing is at this point not so much um, the content that is available for everyone, but doing the work for organizations where my ideal customer profile tends to be already. And yeah, these days I also do different I have my blog. It's not that popular. I have maybe like 700 subscribers. I do have the YouTube and I do have Instagram as well. But if we are talking about getting again clients, then that's usually referrals and those organizations, those types of engagements that I do, where my ideal customer profile can see me doing the
Okay.
thing and delivering value.
Got it. Interesting. Now, keeping on the game of pretend here that I'm still your ICP. Okay. So I watched you through a YouTube video. You have YouTube out there, Instagram, you're read through your blog, even your podcast, or maybe it was referred to work with you. Let's say
Hmm.
whatever you got out there resonated with me. Okay, Angela. So we went through the sales process. I don't want to, usually what I do is speed up a little on this part and say there is alignment. But in your case, I have a question, okay, very specific towards your own practice, which is what is, and let's pretend I'm in a sales call, wherever that looks
Hmm.
like, the sales process. I'm like, okay, I want to be more profitable. I want to hit a new level and all of that. But what is the importance, Angela, of me losing weight, getting better sleep, the nutrition part? Because I understand you coach the whole person, which
Yeah.
affect different layers, different levels of their life, right? But why should I lose weight? I just want to be more profitable, Angela. Can you walk me through your reasoning?
Yes. First of all, I never say anyone should do anything if you're happy exactly where you are. I'm not your anyone.
Love that.
Yes. And the second thing, if why it matters, because energy is the currency of everything that you are, that you do, that you are able to accomplish. If you're not waking up every day jumping out of bed like you're ready to change the world, that will catch up with you, and sooner than later your decisions will suffer, your confidence, the energy that your clients read, the kind of strategies that you come up with, all of that will suffer. Your decision making, which is the most important thing in any business, so all of that will suffer if you don't nail down like your energy creation routines. So again, so you're full of energy, you're not in pain, so you feel the most confident, so your mind is clear, sharp, focused. You can take perspective, you can be strategic in your decisions. That all comes down to your energy levels and how well your body and your brain function. And that is why most business owners actually start caring about their health, because again, that point of pain, like, okay, I'm actually not doing well in my business as good as I can because this body and brain don't function as they used to. That's why also my clients tend to be 40 plus, because finally that catches up with them, that neglect. And that's why every business owner should stop taking care of their vehicle that's gonna take them towards their destination, whatever that is. And the better it functions, the better it's serviced, the further it can take them. And I always say, like, imagine you are in your 80s, in your 90s, and I interview those people who are in their 90s and they're flying around the world trying to trying to, still make a huge difference. Like, imagine when you are 80s and you're 90s, like Richard Branson, and you have those ideas and you have the most experience you've had in your life. Imagine that, and that you are not able to do anything with that because your body
Mm.
is collapsing and you're barely making it out of bed. Or even
Mm.
worse, you're losing your mind, and with some ideas coming to you here and there, but you're not nowhere close to be maintaining the work ethic that is needed to implement on that.
Mm. Interesting. Okay. So, still in the same scenario, the game of pretend. We were talking. There is alignment. You didn't told me what I should do. You just tap into the why, right? It's like,
Yeah.
why would you
Yes.
do this? How
Yeah.
about we try something different? It's not about. It's not an argument. I'm right there with you. I try to pretend I'm bad Pedro sometimes. I'm sorry about that. Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Now, let's say there's alignment. I close, I'm being onboarded, right? We're going to work together. Now, can you walk us through how does it look like, a little peek behind the curtain, right? To work with your business, and what are the outcomes I can expect?
Mhm. Uh, the first session, I don't know if that was your question, like behind the scenes. After we do a little intake where I ask about health, about your business, about your lifestyle, about where you want to go, about things that might be holding you back, whether that's health wise or your emotions or beliefs or some other stressors in your life. But then the first session, we talk a lot about your vision, your what I call a destination postcard. Let's say we work together for the next 12 months. What's different in your life on the other side? What is better? What are you able to do because of that? What are you able to handle more or create more? What are you able to enjoy more and uh, give more? And let's maybe fast forward even longer time horizon, 10, 20 years from now. Let's say you are in the best shape of your life, mentally, physically, uh, emotionally. What are you able to do that? And then let's also talk about the other side. What if you do nothing and just stay exactly where you are? Like, what's the pain? What you're gonna miss out? What you're gonna not be able to do? What quality of life you're not gonna able to have? What are you gonna miss out on? Right? What are you gonna regret in those 10, 20 years? So we talk a lot about that, and I if the first couple of sessions is all about that vision, but then also making it very detailed so we can start tracking something today, right? How do you know that you're moving forward? Like, how will we measure your progress? Because progress is the most motivating thing or demotivating thing for a human brain, because the brain doesn't like waste energy. So how do we make sure that you see progress consistently so you actually stick with it to that final outcome or to that goal, to that result, right? And so we paint this picture, we create the results, some of those indicators that we track, or KPIs, if you want, some of them objective, like if it's health, what is, might be weight, it might be blood pressure, it might be blood sugar levels, it might be your subjective things like your energy levels, it might be your stress levels, it might be your sleep, again, like where is your, a lot of people these days struggle with sleep. Let's say they wake up, several times throughout the night, and they want to just sleep through the night. So we figure out that, and then also things like, if, what's how do you how would you rate your productivity right now? How you are able to deliver on your ambitions, on your goals, right? And for everyone, it's subjective. But I'm like, are you where you want to be? And if not, where you are today? And by the end of this, or in like 12 months from now, where do you want to be? And let's start measuring it every month, every quarter. So that's what first couple of sessions, for example, are all about. And then it's me asking, okay, from your like side of the story, from your perspective, what is number one thing that is holding you back right now? Because it's, I always, like, at any point, and that's where my framework comes into place. You have some major block that you need to move in order for the rest of the stuff to move. And it's usually in the domain of the body, of your mindset and your emotions, or your systems. Like,
Hmm.
what's holding you back? Is it your schedule that you never have time for the things that you know you got to do? Is it your energy, literally, like you barely you waking up and you're already tired? Is it your mindset and you like not confident enough, or you always have this thought loops that keep that you keep ruminating on, that don't allow you to be as effective as you can be in any given moment, right? So what is it for you? And let's start there, so you start getting outcomes that move everything else forward right away. And then,
Mm.
obviously, as a coach with my expertise, that's where my expertise comes in. I'm like, okay, you're working on this. From my knowledge and experience, these are the things that we should try to start moving it forward.
Okay. Now, let me ask you this because I see a lot of coaches out there advocating against burnout, right? But sometimes in the coaching space, and I'm a coach as well, right? We're wearing all the hats from marketer to sales to delivery, right? So, my first curveball for you is because your work seems pretty hands on, we're talking about a customized experience, not a cookie cutter. So, how do you think about capacity? So, don't stretch yourself too thin.
Yes. Um, I set very hard boundaries on my work, meaning there are a certain amount of hours that are dedicated to my work, and there are a certain amount of hours, practices that I dedicate to my rest. And I don't allow the work to bleed into my rest or other, or time dedicated to important areas like recovery, like sleep, like relationships with other people. Um, and I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but just like I also always tell my clients, and my clients are the same profile, very ambitious, your work will never, like, it will never end. You'll always have a to-do list longer than there are hours in the day, so that you have a system that you can sustain forever. I think that's it.
Hmm.
It's boundaries. I always give my clients this visual. Have like different buckets: work, rest, relationships, health, and you need to dedicate the hours that you get every day, every week, to those areas, and ideally build a system that you can again maintain indefinitely. And that's when you, just like myself and with and my clients as well, that's where you become limitless, because you can go, obviously, in the
Mm.
limits of human lifespan, you can go as long as needed. And the beauty of it also, that you never know when your best idea gonna find you. It might be today, it might
Mhm.
be 10 years from now, it might be like for, the, what is it, chicken, this is this guy who created this chicken recipe, Kentucky Fried Chicken. Like,
Mhm.
oh, it might find you when you're 65. You want to be there
Ah.
for that, right? And that's also what it's the whole thing about. You never know when your best moment will find you, and I want you to be ready and capable for that moment, so you can maximize it to its fullest potential.
Oh yeah, he started KFC at 60 plus, right? Like it's a pretty
Yes.
cool story, by the way. Yeah, interesting. Appreciate the insight, right? Now, I'm curious where you're taking all this, looking ahead, where do you see the business going? Are you thinking about scaling, hiring, or is there a next step you're excited about, Angela?
Yeah, see, I'm actually, Pedro, in a very interesting stage of my career where I'm codifying my framework, and then I'm gonna do the work to scale it. It's going to be a book, it's going to be a course, community, coaching experience, 12 months long for purpose driven leaders and founders. It's, yeah, it's putting in place, like I always wanted to create the system of simple rituals, habits, and systems that I can teach someone. And like, here, if you do this and it's simple, your best will thrive. And that is where I'm at the point where I have all the pieces in place to, like, to a really good degree, because the journey never ends, that I can actually codify, and then I can teach someone, I can certify people to teach that to other people. And yeah, so I just want to help more people and scale and have bigger impact.
Mm, exciting, right? Exciting time. Scaling season, as it sounds like. Now, whenever we're in that type of season or next chapter, always something we're refining, right? So, what are you
Yes.
currently trying to improve or tighten up in your business right now?
Focus on one specific avatar and communicating very specific value, like that, those questions that you ask me, like, who is my ideal customer profile, when do they come to me, why do they come to me, what do they want, and who I'm not going to be working with, and what exactly, like, again, the problems, the points that I help to solve, like focusing that and learning how to communicate it very precisely and clearly. And it's still work in progress, but the better I'm going to be getting with it, the easier it is going to be for me to find the right people to scale and to help more people. And so right now, actually, the painful part, where I'm sitting down with Claude and it interviews me and I have to spell out everything, how I think about every single thing. So I actually have the document, the living, breathing, that so that I also can define, but so I have it, and something that I can scale and put into all these different, I don't know, frameworks and applications or courses. We'll see. So that is right now the most painful part.
Mm,
Codifying it and getting focused on who I serve, how, why me, and who I'm not the right person for. So doing this, like, fundamental work that is absolutely required for scaling. And I also believe that most coaches, and if we talk percentages, most coaches never scale to, like, world known phenomenon, because they don't do this work, because it feels incredibly unproductive. You're sitting by your computer, nobody sees the fruits of your labor, so to speak, for quite some time, and you just sitting and chipping away like a mad person, believing that it's gonna change the world.
mm. Okay, interesting. Yeah, before we come up with the offer, we need to get the ICP dialed in. And sometimes I see a lot of coaches struggling with that, especially on the positioning bit, because I'm thinking right now, right, about how abstract sometimes it is. Like, people are like, a better version of myself. What does that even mean, right? To me, they don't know me. That's one thing. The other thing about positioning, it's not about, at least in my perspective, right? It's not about if you can help them. It's more about if they see themselves in the right room, right? Sometimes they self-select because they don't feel like, oh no, this is not really a thing for me, maybe. So yeah, it's a very interesting topic, especially in the coaching space, because it's hard sometimes to pinpoint the outcome as clear as day, right? But it is what it is, right? Sell them what they want, give them what they need. Sometimes they're joining for a different reason of what the actual outcome will be, but that is hard to have that first foot on the door, if that makes any sense, right? But
Yes.
I'm right there with you. Now I want to do a little bit of a sci-fi thing right now, if you don't mind. Okay,
No, no.
let's
Sci-fi is my
pretend.
favorite theme as well.
Okay, let's pretend we have a time machine in front of us. Okay, and you can have a stop right now. I know you've been 18 years in the game, in the coaching
Hmm.
space, but not necessarily as a business owner. Okay. But I want you to pinpoint an exact point in time. And that could be I'm not sure if we're talking about the first time you were a coach, or the first time you were a business owner slash coach. Okay, you can choose whatever you feel like it, but I want you to give yourself one piece of business advice, okay, that you wish you knew back then that you know now.
The only word that comes to my mind is focus on focus. Just one avatar, one benefit, one product, one just communicate one thing very clearly instead of trying to help everyone with everything. And um, you see, like when you are like myself, when you have like different modalities that you help people with, you still need to focus on the pain that you communicate to people, like the problem, without why people don't buy. So you need to get really clear on what that pain is, who experiences this pain, how you can help them, why you, and just talk about the same thing on repeat, ideally in the words of your ideal customer avatar, maybe in their videos. So talk about the same thing, and it's gonna get boring, and it's gonna feel like you're just saying the same thing. You just still have to do that. I remember when I was actually at the beginning of the journey, I got business advice from someone who was in different business, but he looked at me and he's like, Angela, you'll achieve a lot of things if you focus.
Hmm.
And I think it took me 10 years to learn this thing.
Right. Interesting. Okay. Now we have a second stop. Okay. You can select a point in time that you feel the most fulfilled, right? That you're looking back. And I know there's potentially several, but top of mind, okay? One that comes to mind that you're like, oh, this is the reason why I'm doing this. You know, what would that look like?
I don't know if it's if it's the right point, but it was quite recent. And I was talking to a client, and he's going through actually a big work transition. So he's been with the company for 30 years, and now he wants to go on his own. And he's been struggling with this, like, what am I going to do? What's my purpose? What the meaning of this is? Like, he felt like he was losing, I don't know, ground underneath his feet. And we did quite some work for a year and a half. And then he was sitting there, and there was a project that somebody asked him to be a part of. And he was super excited. And when I asked him, like, what's your energy past week, and he's like, 8. And I'm like, well, why do you have 8? And he's like, well, this thing happened and it made my week already, and it was Monday. And I'm like, why do you say this made your week? And he's like, because it felt like it was my purpose.
Mm.
And at that point, I realized I did the work. We did it. He's good. He can leave this coaching, and he'll be in a really good place. And like moments like this, and I had many through my career, that what makes like my day. And like that sort of such an emotional high for me. Then uh like if I didn't have to get paid for my work, I would do it for free. Like this what makes this work the right thing, and this is it. Like I get true joy from this like unlocks.
Mhm.
And that's why I know, this is what I'm here to do.
I love that. Now, Angela, if someone listening wants to connect with you or follow your work, where can people find you and connect with you? And by the way, we're going to have all the links in the description, but the best way for people to do so.
Two places. Instagram, because I post everything a lot also about my lifestyle, especially in stories. And it's Angela Brain Body Coach, Angela Brain Body Coach, one word. So if you want to see more of what I do day to day, that's like the place to to go and see everything that I'm curious about, everything that I'm learning. Again, especially daily stories. I post every day, several times. And then also LinkedIn, where I post a lot of video content. My newsletter is there, Mind Body Work Better, a lot of articles, and just a lot of good stuff. I love my LinkedIn. So down there, Angela Shurina, you can just search for my name and you can find me. Those are two places. Obviously, I have podcasts and blog, but if you follow me there, you'll find all of that.
Okay, podcast. I hope they'll listen to ours, right? Now,
Yes.
there were a few things you shared today, Angela, that really stayed with me. Okay, let's start with the origin story. When we were discussing the professional athletes have coaches to unlock their best versions, you mentioned that, right? And the importance of it. Like, it's such a high stress, pressure environment, and having a coach is like a key thing for them to move forward, and the importance of it, right? So that really stood out to me. Okay, that's one thing. Moving forward, your computer analogy, love that. You can do something which doesn't make you an expert, right? Which doesn't mean you cannot have help, right? You're just using something to an extent with success, but that's not your untapped potential. You could have someone that, hey, can you help me with this? And someone that can actually be not just an accountability partner, but someone that will help you see your blind spots, right? Something we don't know what we don't know, something that they can, unlock in yourself. So that is the second part. I would say also, when I asked you about capacity, bad pager, right? Oh my God, that bad pager is terrible. When I asked you about capacity, and you're like, well, setting up boundaries, right? So you don't burn yourself out. And you mentioned your own framework, right? The Happy Body Playbook. So I see that coming a lot, especially with me, right? That really hits home. Sometimes we're so passionate about what we do, it doesn't really feel like work, right? I worked in
Hmm.
corporate here in Brazil, and when I clocked out, right? It was sayonara and just hit it off. Now, when I have my business, right, and coaching. Sometimes my wife is listening on the other side. She's like, well, that doesn't sound like work. You're laughing a lot, right? And then the podcast too. I'm like, yeah, but that drains me too, right? Even if it's fun. So it's important to set up those boundaries. So great reminder for myself specifically. Okay. And the last but not least, I would say is when we were in the time machine, you were like, that client, that coachee that told you it was my purpose. And it is not just about that, but when you told me, I felt it like, oh, fly, little bird, right? He's ready to go on his own path. That's what coaching is all about. It's about being a guide at the right moment, at the right time, with people that are willing to do so, right? Not that
Yeah.
people that you're trying to push
Yes.
into something. That really
It's that
doesn't work.
also
Like
I
you
often,
said
coaching
when
is
we
like,
were pretend.
when you have a young
Mhm.
tree and you plant it into the ground, it and the winds are too strong and it might, be destroyed, but you put the scaffolding around it and it supports it while through this vulnerable season of growth. And after a while, the tree gets stronger and it grows out of it and it gets bigger and the scaffolding is no longer needed, right? Um, and that's what I also uh, what I also think about when I think about coaching. Coaching is that scaffolding that very often all of us need in certain areas at certain moments to get through this vulnerable period, so then we can keep growing on our own.
Mm, okay. Appreciate you adding that. Now, this is just my long-winded way of saying that I appreciate what you do. I appreciate you being here and sharing so openly today, Angela. It was great having you on.
Thank you so much, Pedro. I really appreciate the space to express, what I'm passionate about, what I think about coaching and human potential and growth. Thank you so much for having me. Uh, yeah.
That's it for this episode. This episode, as well as this podcast, was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help business owners elevate their business to 6, 7, and 8-figure years, all without burning out. If you're looking to grow your business, as well as get the time freedom that you are looking for, visit us at joinpurplecircle.com and see what we can do to help you and your business.